Welcome to Ask a Lawyer with the attorneys at Hepworth Holzer, life-changing law in Boise, Idaho. Today, it's Kurt Holzer. Kurt is a past recipient of the Idaho Trial Lawyer of the Year and has a perfect 10 rating from ABO. Kurt answers your questions about the law and how it affects you.
Kurt, why do I need an attorney if I've been injured?
You know, personal injury attorneys bring a wealth of knowledge to dealing with these injury claims that you just can't have if you haven't been around them. The complexity of the law, it's not really as simple or straightforward as people want. There's not a pay-as-you-go type situation. There are people who have to pay for your medical care, for example, after you've been injured, but have a right to be paid back. And there's questions of what is their right to be paid back? Do they get it all? Do they just get a portion of it? Is there some future care that they get to be paid for? Very complex questions of rights under the law for other people. And the other thing an attorney, experienced, qualified personal injury lawyer brings to the case or will bring to you is the capacity to evaluate your claim. You know, if you're just relying on the insurance company to evaluate your claim, well, their interest is not in evaluating it for you. Their interest is in evaluating it for their bottom line and to pay as little as possible. You want somebody on your side who will say, hold on, let's look at all the dimensions of your claim. Let's look at all the losses you've incurred, and let's figure out what the real value of your losses are.
Well, speaking of the insurance company, they said I don't need an attorney. Is that true?
Well, it's true sometimes, but for the most part, particularly for contingency fee personal injury lawyers like myself, we're happy to talk to folks and help you evaluate your situation, you know, give it a superficial initial look to see, do you need an attorney or not? Generally speaking, in a simpler injury case, you can probably get away with a little bit of advice from attorney over the phone for no charge. On a more complex case, on a case where it's unclear who is responsible or what is the scope of your future damages, as the cases get more complex and bigger, the need for an attorney becomes more and more apparent. And the insurance companies are just wrong. And they're trying to keep you away from an attorney to save themselves money if they actually said that.
Well, what if I've already taken some steps independently without an attorney? What do I do?
Well, you know, for the most part, you probably haven't killed your claim. You probably haven't done something to terminate your claim, but you may have impacted it. We often see people who have done things that they think are the right thing, and instead what they've done is they've impacted their case, not understanding the ramifications of their case. But it doesn't change the fact that once you go, I need to talk to an attorney, you should get in and talk to an attorney, and they will help you understand what have you done in your situation, and can they help you deal with it? Or maybe you've done something that hasn't impacted your case at all. It can be different in many situations.
What damage am I entitled to recover?
Generally speaking, in a personal injury case, there's two areas of damage that you can recover. One is called your economic loss. One is called your non-economic loss. And then there's a third area called punitive damages that are rarely available. Economic loss is pretty simple and straightforward. What is your medical expenses for the medical care you needed to have because of this incident? What's the wages that you lost or the opportunity to earn income that you lost at this time? Did you need some special care at your house, or did you need somebody to take care of your yard, or go take your dog for a walk because you weren't able to ambulate and take care of your dog appropriately? And those are the economic losses, actual costs to you. The non-economic losses, they're the, you know, two of the components, pain, you know, the sensation, the physical unpleasant sensation of pain, and suffering, which is sort of an emotional component of having to live through these things. It includes those things, but it's also lots of other things in that non-economic loss side, which is, you know, it's the hassle of going through it. It's the mere fact of having to go to a doctor or having to restructure your life to deal with issues. And, you know, these emotional losses can be really big, you know, as physical injuries get larger, the emotional losses also get larger too, you know, for somebody who's, you know, become a paraplegic or is dealing with the wrongful death of a loved one or any one of these substantial and major type claims. those components become larger too. So those are the economic and non-economic components. In some rare instances, if the behavior of the bad guy was so bad that society says we should punish him, and probably the easiest example is this drunk driver who runs the stop sign, right? If you have a drunk driver, they suffer punitive damages, and those aren't compensatory damages like economic loss and non-economic loss, which are damages paid to make you better or to make up for what you've lost. There are actual damages that are used to punish the bad person who caused an injury. In most cases, they don't apply, but they're out there in appropriate instances.
Is my case big enough for a lawyer to handle?
Well, that's going to be driven by what are your losses? What is your situation? And for some lawyers, the case has to be very substantial. For other lawyers, they'll take cases that are a little bit smaller and they have a little different system in place. The key for anybody who's asking these questions, though, is take advantage of the free advice that lawyers are offering all the time. Call us and get your case reviewed by an attorney who knows what they're doing. Let them understand what are these losses, what are these injuries to you, and let them make an assessment of your particular situation.
Thanks for listening to Ask a Lawyer with the attorneys at Hepworth Holzer, life-changing law in Boise, Idaho. Join us next time as they answer your questions about the law and how it affects you. They can be reached at 208-343-7510 or hepworthholzer.com.